I would appear I am live. So welcome everyone to Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. This run is going to be a little interesting because I had to make a safety save because there is one minigame in particular that can lose me a lot of time if it feels like it. So in any case, I just made a safety save for that reason. Hopefully won't be necessary. So I will be talking more about this game during the cutscene. Turn off vibrations, continue. Let's see. Okay, if you guys are ready on your end. I assume I just do a countdown. So, okay, 3, 2, 1, go. So this game was released in 2002. I forgot that was a thing. Doesn't matter. This game was released in 2002, near the end of the life cycle of the PS1. So a lot of people did not really seem to know about this game.
Witchcraft and wizardry was very eventful indeed. Along with his friends Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger,
and for that reason, I think a lot of people skipped this game in favor of the PS2, GameCube and Xbox version. What's also interesting to note is that they made massive changes between the PS2 and the GameCube/Xbox release. Basically, loading screens were cut down in GameCube and Xbox compared to PS2. And that's really funny because if you think about it, Harry Potter for PlayStation 1 came out before Harry Potter 1 for PlayStation 2, and Harry Potter 2 for PlayStation 2 came out before Harry Potter 1 for PlayStation 2. And Harry Potter 1 for PS2 is a lot more unoptimized and laggy than the second game.
Can you think of anyone at school with a grudge against you?
Don't ask me how they made that massive mistake, but they did. And yeah.
Touchdown.
There isn't a whole lot else I can tell you about this game other than it likes to crash at random times, which is why I am using the autosave feature. Because if it crashes at any point, which in theory the game can, that would really suck. So, yeah. It's not a very stable game, I'm afraid. Anyways, now begins the actual game, and if you're familiar with the first game for PS1, they run on the same engine, more or less, with the same graphics. However, they used a lot of spaghetti code to make this game work, which results in this being a rather glitchy mess at times. You'll see plenty of examples of that later.
Hello, Harry. Thanks, Harry. Come on, Harry.
World record was recently achieved by me 2 days ago, and the game almost crashed. Right, so we shoot both boxes into position and then we tilt the camera upwards. This is to reduce lag, so the box will move into place a lot quicker.
Okay.
But to get back on topic, I achieved the world record a couple of days ago. Previously the world record was on emulator, which was believed to be more stable than the console version. However, in my experience, the game has only crashed like twice on actual runs. And one crash happened like 3 days ago when I was a minute ahead of world record.
Use your direct right.
So this rule is how he tossed the pipes during the cutscene is random. However, his pattern after that is the exact same every time. And catching 3 pipes in the opening when you end the dialogue is actually as optimal as it gets. Other than that, there isn't a whole lot about the school fight. You just catch pipes. And if you drop too many pipes, Molly Weasley will complain from downstairs that you're making too much noise. Also, I don't know how catching these pipes stopped the ghoul other than making him tired. Then again, he is a ghoul, so he should be undead and not need any stamina. I don't know, maybe that's just my
Nice work.
very cynical view on it.
I need you boys to denome the garden for me. Go find Mr. Weasley. He's by the shed messing about with
Also, some cutscenes aren't skippable, while other cutscenes are skippable. It's really strange why they made it that way, but it's better than the first game for PS1, where literally every cutscene is more or less unskippable. So if they feel like showing you something, they will show you it in complete detail before you're allowed to continue. Here they will show you in detail, but most of the time you can skip it. You'll see examples of that later in Hogwarts. Of both scenarios actually. So coming up next I will be attempting something called padlock skip. Basically when you see an animation for a padlock opening, you can, and if you press enter door on the same frame that it appears, you will skip the animation. I didn't get it, but okay. It's important that you center the camera in a specific way there, because otherwise you trigger Ron to start talking to you and Harry will move backwards, which will lose you some seconds.
Hey, look! Ginny's over by the Puffs game patch.
Yeah.
Why don't you go and check her?
Emulators.
She's been a bit shy lately.
I would say it's even worse for crashing, but nobody can really seem to agree whether emulator or console is more unstable. But yeah, I don't really know. I would say console is more stable, but that's just in my experience. I've never played emulator.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Guide the
Also,
Puffs.
her name is Guide the Puffs Game because of how we skip the text boxes.
There are 2 types of famous witch.
So here you earn a wizard card by feeding the Puffs Game 5 bushes, and he shits out a bean every time you, every time he finishes eating a berry bush, or whatever this is. So it's important you keep the Puffs Game within your camera view, because if you don't, he will just run off and do whatever. And these beans, while not necessary, are still nice to have. So you feed him 5 bushes, stand near him,
Harry, here's
and you get awarded a wizard card.
best find Ron, Harry. He's gone off to see Dad.
Okay, so we're soon coming up to what is possibly the worst minigame in this this run. And that's this right here.
Use your Wingardium Leviosa spell to charm and move the jug. Holding the X button levitates each. Could you charm?
Wingardium Leviosa!
So the gloves will always be in the same position or the same box, meaning that you have to destroy all 3 items before you will be allowed to get the gloves. So it doesn't matter if you break all the boxes first or the TV first. It will always appear in the last item you didn't destroy.
Wingardium Leviosa!
There we go.
Well done.
Thanks for helping Dad out, Harry. The sooner we...
Also, Ron said the trigger word denoming. First one is not too bad. Second denoming, however, is from hell. Because of the bird bath, which you will see later in like an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. An hour and 10.
Mum wants us to fling and once you reach...
So the way denoming works is that you make square to build up your meter. The more you build up the meter, the more speed and height you get in your throw. And for these challenges you need at least 800 points to win a wizard card.
Press the triangle button to throw.
And that's definitely not right. So I get 3 chances, or, well, 3 chances to hit the warp pipe, which is the most important thing right now. Okay, I didn't even get that. I swear I was smashing square there, but it didn't come out for some reason. Alright, let's restart. You might have loved the minigame back then, but I can almost guarantee you will not like it now. Will that hit? Just barely not hit. I am choking very badly right now. But let's consider that one my one-off. This should still hit. If I could actually hit it. That should definitely hit. Right. Now if I don't make any stupid mistakes, this should be good. Hey Shishida. So... I don't know if this can hit though. Should still hit.
You hit the car.
So now I have 2 options. Either hit the phone booth, which is really hard, or hit the pond, which should be really easy. I only get 1 chance at getting this right. This might barely be too much. Okay. Okay, got it. So like I said, we need at least 800 points. And if you hit every item, you get an extra 100 points. However, that's not really needed.
Yardley Platt.
So even though I didn't mess up too badly here, it gets even worse later. Looks like a Bowser toss.
Hello there.
A wizard.
Don't tell me.
Is this? Of course it's safe.
And how dare we question Ronald that wizard dueling is unsafe. So wizard dueling works in pretty much the same way you would expect. The AI does the same thing every time and you can predict their movement every time. However, I am very terrible at dueling, even though I know the pattern, so... And I also have the terrible strategy of relying on special jinxes, which can be a good strategy if you get lucky.
Okay, every time you... And don't think... Okay?
But for now there are no special jinxes, so we won't concern ourselves with those.
Young Potter's going to have to be on his guard this afternoon. Fred Weasley's a master tactician.
Ow!
Also watch out for Master Tactician Ronald or Fred Weasley.
That's terrific stuff.
Ow!
Right, so it's best of 3, and really there is nothing else I can say about it.
Underway. Fred getting quickly into his rhythm.
A barely fully charged Flipendo does the same damage as a fully charged Flipendo.
Nice stuff.
And you will see that in a later instance where I'm not fully charging my Flipendo, but it does the same damage as a fully charged Flipendo. You'll actually see 2 more instances of that.
Oh, I nearly forgot.
So now I get special jinxes. They come in blue, green, yellow, red, And that's it.
Great play by Potter. He's really holding his own.
I suppose I can show one off.
Nice stuff.
So this is a speedy one.
Well done, Harry. You
That's
won
the blue.
first round.
There's a red one which fires in triplets.
Ready?
There's a yellow one which instantly fires a fully charged flipendo. There's a green one which does double damage.
For a beginner, he's doing really well. Lovely work from Potter. Weasley's got his work cut out now.
Ow!
And there we go.
Expelliarmus!
This is before Stupefy, definitely.
Wow, look at...
Right. You get the option to duel again, but we won't. So now begins the bean collecting and wizard card collecting of the game. I should probably talk about what 100% is of this game.
Oh, by the way,
Um,
find you're getting a little...
so the thing is, wizard cards count percentage, Flipendo Duo, which is a faster charging Flipendo, counts percentage, unlike in the first game. And we need 500 beans to unlock the Flipendo Duo. And we need 250 beans to buy wizard cards. So in total that is 500 beans we need. Come on, move a little closer, will you? This could make it. Okay, good. So sometimes the, in general, the dishwasher will try to move closer to you, but sometimes it just doesn't. And that more or less dictates whether or not you need to cast Wingardium Leviosa to move it closer.
Wingardium Leviosa!
So these rocks will unlock the door. Also, another thing I can talk about is the death animation for those what's it called, lawnmowers. Their hitbox is still present even after they die, or sometime after they die. So if you move too quickly on the beam they drop, you will actually take a hit. I don't understand how they made that mistake, but they did. So I'm gonna attempt another padlock skip here. I probably won't get it. Nah, I didn't move correctly. Oh well, there's another chance coming up right now. And this is the second to last padlock skip I will attempt. Yeah, that was very wrong. Alrighty then. So what will happen now is that the music will disappear. And I don't know why the music disappears, it just does. There's probably too many sounds on screen at the time, or in game at the time. I should probably talk more about what the actual requirement is for 100%. So, certain loading screens in the game actually count percentage. So you will see me go to some secret areas and not collect anything, just opening it and leaving it. All wizard cards are required. Okay. You don't even need to fully charge a Flipendo there, but sometimes it doesn't register when you do it. You need to complete Quidditch practice by getting all gold wings. And you need an A in all classes to get 100%. So now, unlike the first game, we're now graded on our performance in class. This is a really annoying wizard card to get, because the second box over there, this one, is ungrabbable.
Hengist of Woodcroft.
So you have to land on it just right to, in order to get up on this hedge to get the wizard card. It's super annoying. and it can easily lose you 20 seconds. Coming up now is, I will hopefully not trigger the wrong warp.
Oh, hi, Harry.
So,
Goodness, you came.
thank goodness I came, indeed. So, normally here you would shoot the puff skein, turn the camera, and then collect the
There you are.
remember all.
Nice work, Harry.
So what that does is, it makes it so you can move in the cutscene, so you leave through the same door you came in, walk back in, and it will warp you directly to Hogwarts, the Gryffindor common room. I'm not entirely sure why it happens, but it does.
When you're in the fireplace, and keep your elbows.
Mind you get out at the right
Are you sure? Piece of cake.
Washing machines are the bane of all evil. Also, we have to do a sliding minigame. So this is where we collect beans. I'm gonna try to collect as many as I can while not falling down. If you hold down X, Harry will go really fast. And that can sometimes go really, really wrong. So be careful about doing that if you're gonna play this game ever. Also fireballs, because, you know, reasons. Harry should be a basketball player. Yeah.
Harry had no idea where he was. All he could tell was that he wasn't in Diagon Alley. Evil-looking masks.
But yeah, this game is minigame central, the same as the first game. That one had a lot of minigames.
The sooner I get out of here, the better.
Harry heard a noise from the door nearby, and two blurry shapes appeared on the other side of the glass. Harry looked quickly around and spotted a large black cabinet. He shot inside it and pulled the doors closed, leaving a small crack to peer through. Seconds later, a bell clanged.
Yeah.
And Draco Malfoy.
Same with Spyro 3 and Spyro 2, it's a minigame central.
Draco could only be his father, Lucius Malfoy.
Touch nothing, Draco.
Mr. Malfoy was trying to sell the shopkeeper certain dark magical items that he didn't want the Ministry
So,
of Magic.
the way,
Harry went to flourish.
the thing about these book cutscenes is that they can just randomly crash the game if they feel like it. And I had that happen on a World Record Pace run once, like 3 days ago.
Together you and
I probably already mentioned that, but I have really bad short-term memory when it comes to what I said like 5 seconds ago. So don't be surprised if I repeat myself.
How do you even go into a bookshop without making the front page?
Ginny, who was very fond of Harry, defended him.
Leave him alone. He didn't want all that.
Lucius Malfoy insulted the scruffy state of the second-hand books Ginny had bought.
I suppose those books are the best your father can give you.
Lucius plucked a copy of A Beginner's Guide to Transformation from Ginny's cauldron, examined it briefly, and then replaced it.
PTSD is
No
real.
one at that time realized how much of an effect this gesture from Lucius Malfoy would have on their lives.
Also, if you notice the book cutscenes, they actually use the PS2 graphics
They found
for
a car in Charing Cross
the
Road,
book
and after
cutscenes.
making it invisible,
And in this cutscene you see Harry and Ron in their
they
normal
saw
outfit.
Hogwarts Express far below.
But look on the next screen. They have their normal clothes now. And now they have... If loading screens didn't take so long.
Looks
Their
like we've
Gryffindor
lost the
outfit.
track. Let's check out that tunnel.
This game is very inconsistent in a lot of ways. But this game is also more true to the book than the movie was true to the book. But you will see some interesting cases of that.
Try not to scratch the paintwork or my dad will kill me. Pick up the speed boost to stay ahead of the train. And watch out for any obstacles.
So this is a fun section. You dodge obstacles, you collect speed boosts, you scratch the paintwork, even though nothing happens when you do scratch the paintwork. Also, why do we not fly away when we're outside? Like, it makes no sense at all. So, as you can probably tell, collecting the speed boosts, well, speeds you up. And it's important I avoid almost all secret routes until I except the last one in the next section. Because that one has a wizard card. I'm not sure how much time the secret routes lose you, but I know one of them it's at least 3 seconds. That's about all I can say. And every speed boost you miss loses you about half a second. Depending on how quickly you get the next one.
Keep going, Harry. We've got to reach the end of the tunnel soon.
Max is running
Collect the pickups to
Harry
reverse
Potter and the Half-Blood Prince after this, I'm pretty sure. Also, this is another opportunity we could get away from the train, but the game is like, nah. There's an invisible wizard barrier that keeps us from escaping. I wish I knew the reason, but I don't. Right, I need to concentrate on this one, so excuse me for a moment. Alright, got it.
Excellent.
Got it,
Got
nice.
famous witches and wizards card.
That wizard card can be really mean. Not that it's hard to miss.
There, Harry.
Oh well. Once you're in the secret route, it's not hard to miss, but I remember missing the secret route a lot as a kid. So now we're coming up to the Whomping Willow, where I will attempt to one-cycle it. And if I get the one cycle, I save 22 seconds.
That was really close. I didn't think we'd make it out of the tunnel.
So, like I said in the Fred duel,
Try and land the car in the castle grounds.
you don't necessarily need a fully charged Flipendo to deal max damage.
I don't have control anymore.
So you will most likely not see me do that. Most likely.
Find that tree!
Also, the car's already broken by the time it touches the tree, which makes no
I
sense.
can't get out! Harry, you need to get close to the tree and cast a spell at what looks like its mouth. Flipendo!
I fucked up. Not good. Yeah, this is a bad Whomping Willow now. So these shockwaves will damage you upon impact. And yes, I do mean upon impact.
Shoot it in the mouth, Harry! Flipendo! Ah! Help!
Nice static. Oh, HP6 has great minigames.
Escape from the Whomping Willow, the sorting ceremony had already begun. They peered in at the Great Hall and watched as the aged-old sorting hat placed new students into the 4 Hogwarts houses, as it had for so many years past. Harry remembered putting the sorting hat on a year ago, and for a few Hogwarts
excuse
seconds
me.
he had feared the hat
Just got
was going
something
to
wrong in my
become
throat.
Slytherin, along with Draco Malfoy.
Not Slytherin, eh? Well, if you're sure, better be Gryffindor!
But of course, he had ended up in Gryffindor, along with Ron and Hermione. As they watched the sorting, Harry noticed that at least one teacher was missing from the staff table.
Hang on. Where's Snape?
And then, from behind him...
Fun fact, you do not see Dumbledore in this game at all, outside of book cutscenes, except for the end credits.
Favorite teacher.
I'm waiting to hear why you two didn't arrive on the school train.
It was a great start to the term, thought Harry, as they followed Snape to his office. Once there, Snape nastily admonished them about flying the car to Hogwarts.
In fact, you don't even see McGonagall either in this game. I don't even think she appears in the credit section, you know, outside of this one book cutscene. She might appear in a second book cutscene, I cannot fully remember. In any case, welcome to Hogwarts. So this is an unskippable cutscene, and there's a couple of those. But the theme, Happy Hogwarts, makes up for it, I guess. Also, we did not get expelled, so woohoo.
Can you believe? Come on, Ron. No problem.
Harry Potter mustn't stay at Hogwarts.
This is the one and only time you see Dobby in the game. He charmed these knights to attack you. He did that with several knights, in fact. Also, this is a cool skip if I get it. You get these beams, jump around like this, and like that. And you skip a Cullen cutscene, and it never reappears, that one cutscene. Unlike some cutscenes in the game that actually stay in the game.
We'd better get to...
The trigger for that one actually disappears at some point. I don't know exactly when it disappears, but you don't have to worry about it anymore. So this is where we will go off the path for a little while. This is to collect beans and a wizard card. Also, this area's loading screen will count percentage towards the 100%, so it's more than necessary to do. So let's talk about Flipendo. You can only cast Flipendo when the game says you can. So if the game seems to think that it's unnecessary for you to cast Flipendo in a certain area, you will not be allowed to cast Flipendo, essentially. I will show an example of that after I'm done here.
Bertie Bott.
Also, I made a mistake already, aside from the ones I've already made. But it's not a major one, unlike the denoming one. It was to shoot this one when I collected the last beam. Saves like a second or so, but still, it's nice to have. So the snipe I got on the beanbag right here, if you're too late, the book will actually be in the way of your shot. It's not really a case where you lose time, but still it's nice to not miss it, in my opinion. So if I try to use Flipendo now, it just makes like a wheezing noise. And if you stand still, your wand actually makes smoke signals.
Look.
You can probably communicate with said smoke signals. I've never tried it. So now we have to trigger a cutscene in order to move on with the game. This is just how the game is programmed. Certain cutscenes unlock certain parts of the game.
Pig Snout?
I'm sorry.
Oh, Ron.
Also, Pig Snout is in HP 1 PS2. It is the password for Fred and George. It might also be the password in HP 2 PS2, but I cannot remember that one. Harry Vapor.
You look happy now.
That I... In fact...
Is Hermione...
Of course...
The library has 2 secrets, one which is actually not required for 100%. Another one which ironically is, which is what I will do right now. This secret has beans and wizard cards, which most secrets have. Might as well get that little fact out of the way. These books can steal your flipendo. It all depends on their movement. Also, just to get this out of the way, house points do not count towards percentage in this game, unlike the first one. Missed that.
Harry Potter!
So now we collect, I'm like 5 beans short or something, so I'm gonna collect 5 extra beans. Or actually no, I'm not behind on beans, I'm actually ahead on beans. Well, slightly ahead. So I will be collecting 5 extra beans along the way. Also, yeah, Harry found himself on a wizard card. He no longer has to search for who he is, for he is Harry Potter. So I could technically skip 5 beans, but I'm gonna get 5 extra just for marathon safety. Plus, they don't lose me that much time.
The password, Harry.
We'll collect these extra beans, and we are off. On my right there was another secret, but it doesn't count percentage, so we can skip it. So now we go back to the common room and actually enter it. And that's when we'll start doing some sequence breaking. You will see what I mean pretty soon. So when you enter the common room, you hold left and down. Because there's a short moment where you can move as you enter the common room.
We made it!
And this gives a cutscene where you get, where it tells you about the house cups, or the class cups, or whatever they're called. And it also tells you to go to herbology next. However, this cutscene doesn't disappear, so we will end up triggering it at a later point. But that's about it. Also, this has a skip and a cutscene skip. So you just mash a button and it skips the cutscene. And I will explain the skip if I get it. So line up this like so. No, too far up. So the way this works is that normally you can only shoot it left or right. And you can only shoot, it will only move in a direction as long as the jinx symbol appears. However, by manipulating the camera and our position, we can actually have the jinx symbol show. And due to the angle in which we hit it, it will actually shoot forwards, skipping a major portion of this. Right, let's try again. That's not far up. How is that too far? Excuse me? If I mess this up too much, I'll just do it normally, but this isn't that hard. I know it doesn't show, but it really isn't that hard. There we go. So this gives a major portion where we have to go through a door, destroy some rats, go through another door, beat some knights, and go through a door that activates a lever. Then we have to shoot it either left or right. And then we have to wait for it to auto-center, and then the platform I just got onto, it will go up and down. And then you have to jump at the right time to get a grab onto it. But we skip all that, doing that little trick there, which I explained earlier. There won't be any wizard cards to collect for a little while, so we can take it easy with that. It was Charizard we just got. The Charizard wizard card, Pokemon card, who even cares? So coming up here is a very difficult dialogue skip, and I've never gotten it to work. So I have no clue how it really works. All I know is I've tried and I constantly fail. However, we can skip the cutscene.
Apologies.
But I could not skip run. It's not a major time loss, but it's still annoying to fail it.
It's her.
Right, so herbology is kind of a choke point, because we need an A grade in all classes in order to get a wizard card later. We'll actually get 2 wizard cards by getting an A grade in all classes. This guy pushes us in, which is kinda nice, but probably a programming error. Here we skip another cutscene dialogue. So in this next section, we will hold left to basically do some side stuff. So by holding left here and going out of the text as quickly as possible, we can actually go to the grounds. This helps skipping a cutscene later, and it also allows us to get some beans along the way and some needed loading screens, because it's too far out of the way to do these at any other point than now. This area has beans and the loading screen. Right. So this unlocks a challenge, which is Dean Thomas Football Challenge. Basically what that challenge is that you push a football with really bad physics through 10 poles. And if you beat it, you get a bunch of beans. However, the beans aren't necessary for us in this case. So we only do this for the loading screen because it actually counts percentage. I would say all secrets are not very well hidden at all, in my opinion anyways. Right, so we get that. Goes to the Quidditch pitch, which has another secret and some beans. Skip this guy. I don't actually know if he activates a cutscene or not. I've just never seen it, and I don't feel like trying it. So, yeah. This secret is also needed, both for beans and the percentage. However, mostly because of the beans. And then we'll go and do herbology. Okay, so you don't just get to class by well, let's just say you don't get to class very easily in this game or in the first game. You have to do an obstacle course before you will be allowed to get into the class. Don't ask me why that's the case, it just is. And I just made a massive mistake there, so we'll see if I pay for it or not. I was supposed to trigger the cutscene there, so now I have to walk around it, because it doesn't disappear. So we have to get a time faster than the school record in order to get one of the cups. And we also get house points for it, which is pretty irrelevant, but we can't skip them. Oh, that's bad. However, there isn't much leeway in this, unlike Defense Against the Dark Arts, so we'll see if I have to reset or not. This is the bad section right here, and you can literally not fall down here. And we made it. Cool. Not an optimal time, but it'll do.
Well done. Here is...
Yeah, just stay at home and play video games. That's a good idea. I will not explain how the class works until I'm done with it, or if I have to restart it. So we'll see what happens.
Professor, please be an A. Watch my...
But we need a grade A.
Ready? Perfect. 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 Perfect.
And you don't necessarily need 100%, by the way.
Perfect. 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 Perfect.
Good question.
Bravo. Okay. Perfect. 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 Okay. Perfect.
Okay, so the way this works is that if you hit it at a certain time, sparkles will appear. And if you hit it too early or too late, it will just be a normal input. And the more sparkles you get, the higher the percentage counter.
Mr. Potter, here is the hub.
I don't know exactly the minimum requirement, but
Potter.
in any case, I needed the grade A. And that's one class down. 2 more to go. So now we get a little almost scene from the movie, because they had to copy the movie very closely. Must have been Malfoy, yeah. What a scrub.
Welcome to... This is a mandrake. Its cry is very dangerous. I need you to collect at least 3 mandrakes from this greenhouse. Of course, the more mandrakes you collect, the more house...
Right. So we collect 3 mandrakes, and the only thing we would get for getting more is more house points.
Harry, what? Speak up, Hermione.
And since those aren't needed, we don't have to worry about it.
Giant slugs. Keep this once a slug. Good luck.
Speak up, Hermione.
Incendio.
So the way Incendio Duo works, the intention is you fully charge a Flipendo and then you hit them. However, you don't really need to, so... yeah.
Incendio. Incendio.
Locking onto them is not necessary, but it's nice to do just to make sure you don't miss them. So this is the last mandrake we need to collect.
Incendio.
These take 4 hits. Later they will only take 3 hits. Because reasons.
Incendio. Wingardium Leviosa.
It's actually funny that it's not Hermione getting the cups for you. No leg skip. So what happens when Harry jumps and lands is that he does
Leviosa!
a little landing animation. And if you're going through a door on the right frame when Harry lands, you actually skip watching that animation. So you save a few frames by doing that. I actually wanted to take damage there, but whatever.
Wingardium Leviosa!
Right. This is the last mandrake we need. And we're done. That's Herbology done.
Well done, Miss. There is 25.
I think everyone in this game has a creepy face, but that's just me. Right, I had to walk past the cutscene trigger there. Because the cutscene for entering Herbology is still there. And there's another cutscene on top of that one where Hedwig appears with a letter telling us to go to Quidditch practice. So Neville is over here telling you about a secret. The only other secret in the game that does not count percentage towards completion. So we skip that one as well. And now we go to Quidditch. This game is a bit more exploration based than like it gives you more free range to explore, unlike the first game, where you don't really get to explore around freely until you have completed Forbidden Forest. We skip that guy, and yeah, time for Quidditch. So there's some RNG involved in Quidditch, which I will explain later. But for now,
and we'll begin the training.
for now we just have to do normal stuff.
Welcome to in a Quidditch, which is why, first off, this broom won't steer left and right to fly between the poles and use the X button. Get set.
So in order to get 100%, you have to get gold wings on all Quidditch practices.
Good work. Keep it up.
And Oliver Wood cheers you on, and Colin takes photographs. Because reasons.
That's good. Good work. Keep it up. Excellent. For that performance, you've earned your gold wings and 25 heist points for Gryffindor.
Also, don't ask me how Oliver Wood gives points, he just does.
Right, Harry. I've got 2 brooms. Here's the first.
So they did an excellent job at not telling you which broom does what, so you just have to try.
Some people prefer.
So first one has inverted controls, second one has normal controls.
Do you want to? So, Harry, if you decide you've completed. Okay.
Okay.
The first part. Get ready, Pot.
So now we need all Quidditch gold wings, and on the second and third part we have to catch the snitch.
Fly through the rings, Harry.
However, that can be a real challenge because you move a little hand around and you have to touch the snitch and then press X. Or like you have to hover over the snitch and then press X in order to catch it. And it's a little bit broken here because the snitch will actually spawn in your hand. So you want to mash X as quickly as possible in order to catch it on the first frame. Otherwise it becomes really difficult. However, it's nowhere near as hard as the actual Quidditch match against Slytherin you will be playing later.
That's good. Good work. Keep it up. That's it, Harry.
Right, so you mash X here and hope you catch the snitch immediately. I didn't.
Brilliant.
But it's still a good
For that
catch.
performance, you've earned your gold wings and 25 heist points for Gryffindor. In a Quidditch match, this often let's see how you manage catching a snitch whilst racing against another seeker.
So the second seeker doesn't really change much, other than he tries to push you away from the rings. There's really nothing else to it.
Good work. Keep it up. 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 That's it, Harry. That's good. That's it, Harry. That's it, Harry. That's good. That's good. Good work. Keep it up. Good work. Keep it up. That's good. Good work. Keep it up.
Once again, you mash X and hope you get lucky. And I did not.
Excellent. For that performance, you've earned your gold wings and 25 house points for Griffin.
Right.
Good session.
That was one requirement towards 100%, which is now completed. Thankfully, it didn't take me too long to catch the snitch.
Hey, Harry!
I don't know.
Yeah, why not?
That's true.
How about here then? Remember how... And look! Right.
So Ron talks about the founder duels, which is a cutscene we skipped. So at this point we have no clue what he's talking about. And you lose this duel on purpose, because it's faster.
Round one to me. Come on, Harry. You're gonna have to sharpen up. Get ready!
Duel.
Try moving more. Footwork's really important in dueling.
Since when did Ronald become an expert, is what I want to know. And this is faster than actually beating him.
Have you heard? I wonder who it could be.
It's me!
Very latest model. Only kid.
At least
No one.
you'll pay for that now.
So I would like to think that Malfoy was just hiding in the trees, watching our duel, waiting for them to say, "Hey, Slytherin has a new Seeker, I wonder who it could be." And then he would jump out of the woods being like, "Hey, it's me!" Okay, there's some weird geometry here where you actually get a jump for some reason. I don't know why it happens or why they did it that way. They just did. Also, I will intentionally take damage here to set up for a death trigger later. I did not want to get hit on that scene though, or that screen, because it's actually a little bit slower because it sends you in the opposite direction of where you want to go. And that's all the damage I'm going to take for now. And sorry about the burp sound if that disturbs anyone. I'm not in control of that, unfortunately. So here you skip walking up on the slippery slope, which is a bit faster. I don't think going left or right is any faster than the other, it just depends on your positioning at the time. Right, so now comes the slugs minigame. Ron will throw up slugs and you have to catch and throw 20 into a barrel. There is nothing else I can tell you about this next minigame.
Right, Harry, we move. Good luck. Well done.
And that was actually really, really good. So it's RNG how quickly Ron shoots out the slugs. And I think that would have actually been a gold split if I had been using splits.
Ron, yeah. Thanks for the defense. Yuck.
Gosh.
Do we have really have? Well, defense.
So now we go to the upper part of the castle for defense against dark arts. Well, they call it upper Hogwarts for some reason. I don't understand why, but that's not for me to decide. And this gives another little cutscene we can't skip. So Hermione said upper castle, the door said upper Hogwarts, and the cutscene says upper castle. I don't think the devs were coordinating that much, or that coordinated, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest. So we skip a cutscene by walking onto this, jumping on here, and jumping here.
This should be a. Is that why you've? I have. Are you okay, Harry?
However, that cutscene I skipped was a cutscene with where Harry hears the basilisk, but that cutscene is still loaded into the game, so I have to walk past it on 2 more occasions. These tables are really evil because 80% of the time they're not grabbable, so I actually have to wait for them to lower themselves or heave themselves upwards. It's really weird, but that's the case, so this one gives you a lot of leeway to beating the high score. So that's good at least. Whatever Hermione says must be correct. True. True. This section in particular is really evil for dropping you down. And we're almost done.
Come on, Harry!
50 seconds against the 124. Pretty good.
Quite excellent.
He doesn't have any signed photos of himself, but he does have the race cup. Whatever that is. Alright, I'm gonna concentrate on this one as well, because I do not want to reset right now. Also watch his expensive wand, I guess.
Hello, class. Today I'm going. Watch my do this, please. Are you ready?
Also, you will learn to love Lockhart's voice lines.
Perfection. Very stylish. Just like me. Perfection.
Perfection.
That's the. Splendid. Very stylish. Just like me. Splendid.
One more to go.
One more to go. Get
Perfection! Perfection! Very stylish. Just like me.
So it's interesting to note that Lockhart's voice lines will be the same regardless of how good or bad you do. Unlike Professor Sprout, who will just say okay if you don't get a sparkle.
You've earned a great.
Well. So this unlocks a wizard card, which we will collect later in the common room.
Now be warm. No harm can.
A freshly caught Cornish pixie.
Looks like I'll take care. When a pixie's petrificus, you can only.
Also, you will not use Petrificus Totalis outside of the classroom. So it's really just there because it was in the movie and the book.
Simple, isn't Professor? Okay, I'll try. Petrificus totalis.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen the pixie spawn there.
Well done,
It always spawns next to Hermione, so
Very good.
well, almost always, so that was surprising to say the least. Right, time to catch some pixies. Oops. Oops. Well, that's bad. Now I have to restart. The whole marathon has to restart now. I'm very sorry.
Well done. You
Well, obviously I'm kidding, so...
Isn't he?
That's the death abuse. It helps us skipping past having to catch the pixies, which is a lot slower than, well, actually catching them. Or actually catching them is slower than not catching them.
Hello. Hello. Tomorrow it will be such. Perhaps you could make.
A death day party.
So for something that was not in the movie,
to me.
aside from Ron's bad pun, something that wasn't in the movie was the Death Day. Which I don't understand why they skipped that, but they did.
The race for the House Cup continues.
So house points in this game work the same way as the other game.
Ravenclaw?
Everybody has a certain percentage based on your house points.
Hufflepuff?
So let's say you have like 200 house points, Ravenclaw will maybe have 40% or 80% of what you have, and Slytherin will have 90% or whatever. But it's interesting to note in this game in particular, nobody will ever have more house points than you, no matter how few you collect. It's really weird why they made it that way, but that's how they decided to make house points. So just like the first game, you cannot lose the House Cup in this game either, no matter how few points you get. So now we're going to skip a small cutscene with Nick. It's really easy. You wait for Harry to leave the common room, and then you hold up. And Nick basically leads you towards what might be the shortest path. I'm not entirely sure. But because I did a sequence break with Ron in the common room, there's a Gryffindor in this section who was not there before. Just like Ron was supposed to wait for us in the front hall before we went out for herbology, he wasn't there. And that's because of the sequence break. So this is a neat little skip if I get it right. You jump up here, jump in there, and you skip having to watch the cutscene where Harry walks into the through the doorway.
I have a. This way.
This is another Nick skip. Kinda neat. And we're in the dungeons now. So this has the first major skip of the game. There is a skip you can do right there to save even more time, but I've never managed to do it, so I will skip it. So here you skip a cutscene with Peeves by walking up against this wall. And he walks off screen afterwards, so you skip him entirely. He doesn't reappear. Technically there's 2 levers you have to activate. However, we can get away with just one by doing a skip. And if I did the big boy skip, I would actually skip both, but I would also lose out on 8 beans. Which would not be the worst and would actually save me even more time. However, the skip is very hard to get right, so that's why I'm not going for it in a marathon setting. Maybe one day I will, but that's not today. So I'm gonna explain how it works afterwards, so please be patient. You line up using this potion. Should be right. Got it. So you line up yourself using the potion. Then you aim yourself in a specific direction. And you can basically jump all the way past skipping one of the levers. And I got it first try, so woohoo. So this next section is basically just an auto-scroller. There's nothing exciting happening other than, well, this being a rail shooter, I guess.
So glad you can make it, Harry. May I recommend the mouldy bread and the stinking salmon? Watch out for Peeves, Harry. Feel free.
Happy Death Day, Nick. I think Ron has a present for you.
Also, I like how Ron is just standing there with his present, like, guys, help, I have a present, what do I do? One of the dialogues I skipped, Shishida, actually mentions maggot haggis. I'm not sure why anyone would eat that, but who am I to judge people's eating habits? So this is just a rail shooter. You shoot Peeves before he throws food at you. And there's nothing else I can really say about this. Once you damage him enough, he will dive down and just toss 3 items at you. And if you don't miss him at all, he will only do that twice. You can tell by his health when he does it. It's not RNG dependent at all. As he throws moldy bread at me. And that is Peeves. And then they leave the scene running away because reasons that are beyond my comprehension.
The voice was growing fainter, and Harry was sure it was moving away, moving upwards. He began to run, his stomach lurching. Something was shining on the wall ahead. Harry approached slowly, squinting through the darkness. Mrs. Norris, Filch's cat, was hanging by her tail from a torch bracket. She was as stiff as a board, her eyes wide and staring. Foot-high words had been daubed on the wall above the petrified cat. Harry shuddered as he read them.
The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air, beware.
Before Harry could leave, several people appeared in the corridor. When Filch saw Miss...
Alright guys, place your bets. I'm gonna toss a can into a waste bin. Will I hit the waste bin and have it land inside the waste bin, or will I miss? Take your bets now.
Enemies of the air, beware. You'll be next, mudbloods.
Professor Dumbledore calmed everyone down and sent them all to bed.
Alright, ready? Let's go.
Ron reckoned they had an idea who
Damn it, I'm good.
both he and Harry went to meet Hermione in the library.
Right. So coming up soon is the worst minigame in this entire game. And I may have to load a safety save because it can easily cost me 5 minutes.
I'm sure that Draco...
I think you...
Polly what?
Polyjuice to make the pot.
Okay.
And I'll get the Horn of Bicorn. You two had better get to potions class. When I find a place to prepare the Polyjuice potion, I'll send Hedwig.
And for some reason we have to go to potions, but Hermione does not. I genuinely have no idea why. Which is a bit of a contrast when you see the next Harry Potter game.
Silence! I suggest...
Okay then, Snape, I'll be quiet. Just kidding. For some reason Neville Longbottom is here, because reasons. Right, let me concentrate for a bit. Alright. I didn't really miss a beat, so that's good.
Good enough. Now remember, class dismissed.
This also unlocks the Wiggenweld Cauldrons, and I believe there's 3 of those in the game in total. Might be 4, I'm not entirely sure.
Hello there.
Of course.
It's nearly
I'll help Hag.
I do?
Like get...
Oh yeah.
leeches.
Uh,
All right then.
Okay, Hag.
So, this minigame is atrociously cruel. Mostly because of the bird bath. And I will probably fail this a multitude of times. But still, we only need 800 points. So let's see how it goes. That's too high. So yeah, that tree is actually blocking the bird bath and you have to hit it on the side. And it's absolutely evil. This can only barely hit if I do it right. I did not do it right. Thankfully, this is the last time we have to do it. That will not hit, I don't think. No. I swear, guys, this is harder than it looks. That's also too far to the left. Not going to hit either. The sweet spot for this one is so precise, it's actually stupid. This could hit. It actually hit the tree. I almost made a mistake there. That would have been bad. I'm either too early or too late. It's so annoying. I'm gonna try again. I technically get 2 chances at this, so... yeah. Of course I get it now, where I'm not allowed to miss anything now. Right, time for the second hardest thing, which is the washing bin. I actually missed it. Okay, I cannot miss anymore, otherwise it's a restart. I actually messed it up, god damn it. This is why I prefer hitting the bird bath on the first one, because it gives me extra chances on the washing bin.
Excellent throw.
Okay, good. That's too early. Let's consider that my one-off. This is my last chance, and if I don't get it now, I'm just gonna load a save file. Because this is taking way too long. That should hit.
Excellent throw, Harry.
Right, one last item. I messed it up. I am so bad at this game. Right. I am going to load a save file because I can literally sit here for a full hour without getting it. I'm sorry, guys. The only thing you're missing is me getting a wizard card. That's literally it. I'm so sorry that this is necessary, but I don't have a choice. I need 800 just like last time. And if I had hit the scarecrow there, I would have gotten the wizard card.
Thanks for saving me.
But yeah.
There you are. Did you manage to... I got some flaxweed, but it...
Right. So the only difference between this file and the other file is that I have slightly more beans on this file. But in the interest of keeping the run going and not making the marathon like 30 minutes behind, I loaded a save file, so I hope somewhere down the line people can forgive me.
I can't... What's going...
Alright, there's someone's...
There's the... Malfoy... There they go, after the snitch! It's heading for the stands!
Amazing!
I've lost sight...
Right, so this is the only Quidditch game, and there isn't much Quidditch to it. First you destroy Malfoy's broomstick. And I'm not doing too well at that. And I bonked that, that's so bad. So I missed a ring spawn there, which is kind of sad, but yeah. So what can actually happen here is that you can get too far ahead of the snitch. Which would actually be kind of bad because the snitch kind of craps out a bit. Oh, I missed that one, that's bad. And yeah, it just happened. So the idea is you get a ring and release the X button to go fast. And the snitch will never get ahead of you, but I accidentally held down X, so... the snitch catching minigame in this is the same as in Quidditch practice. So... there isn't really much I can say other than hope you get lucky. I did not get lucky. Also, the snitch moves a lot faster here, making it even harder. Also, Malfoy's face right there is what you see before you die, so... yeah.
Harry's arm was hanging at a very strange angle, but in his good hand he held the snitch.
Aha! We've won!
Lockhart told Harry to lie back as he tried to mend his arm with a charm. A strange and unpleasant sensation started at his shoulder and spread all the way down to his fingertips. His arm didn't hurt anymore, nor did it feel remotely like an arm.
Ah, yes. Well, that can sometimes happen. So, Harry, just toddle up to the hospital.
Also, who's the random Ravenclaw student in the photo?
Tidy you up a bit.
The next moment, Dumbledore and McGonagall were backing into the room, carrying what looked like a statue. Together, they heaved it onto a bed.
It means that the Chamber of Secrets is indeed open again.
Hermione whispered to Harry that it was about time he collected together the ingredients for the Polyjuice potion.
As soon as your arm is better, I think you should go to Diagon Alley.
It was half-term by the time Harry's arm was better, and following Hermione's advice, he caught the train to London. Harry met Hagrid in Diagon Alley.
Right. Diagon Alley, like in the first game, there's some RNG involved, but there's no Gringotts. So... essentially, if you want to run this game 100% or the first game 100%, they both have the same poison you have to deal with. The first game has the Gringotts gems you have to worry about. This game has denoming, and even though denoming is shorter, it's mostly the second denoming you'd have to worry about. Because it's like an hour into the run, and you can easily lose 5 minutes to it. Yeah, no driving in the vault. Okay, so pixies first. How quickly the pixies pop out is random.
Please help. I'll give you any.
And yeah. I missed one.
the sound.
Have you got any?
There you.
Also, for those of you who don't know, the back of the case for this game, one of its key selling points is experience the change in season. And it's basically this for like a couple of screens. You know, snow. Really, there's nothing in any other things more exciting. Like, they don't have that many exciting selling points on the back of the case. So lacewing flies, they spawn in a random place.
It doesn't.
And then they move to a random crate.
Can I help you?
Can I have some?
I do in. They're hiding him. You need to collect.
Okay, that's upstairs nearby. Should have reacted a bit faster to that, but okay. But unlike you chase some frogs in a in the first game, and in the first game you don't get to see where the frog goes. It just goes to a random position. Here they go to a random position, but you actually get to see which one it is, which is the one thing they made different about this. And that was space wing flies.
Well done. You.
As a little side gag, the guy tells us to buzz off. But that was just a little side gag to relax you, I guess.
You got all your.
And that is Diagon Alley in this game. A lot shorter and easier than the first game.
Well done. Did you manage? Yes. She wouldn't get. Here's the flat, and here on. How long until? I'm afraid we. I hope you're not. Well, of course it. I've got a bad. Come on, Ron.
So coming up next, it is possible for Ron to run ahead of you. He didn't this time, but sometimes Ron will run ahead of you in that cutscene, and it causes you to lose a few seconds, which is really annoying when it does happen. Coming up next is the last padlock skip I will be attempting, because there's only one left to attempt.
Hogwarts is like. I suppose. Good luck.
Right. Goodbye, Ronald. Sometimes Ron feels like being the main character. Exactly. He fails horribly, but yeah, that's the perfect way of describing it. Got it? Nice. So that skips watching the scene where you have to see the padlock opening. And yeah, that's the only time I've gotten it this run, and it's the last time you will ever see me attempt one. Oh, that's unfortunate. It loses a few frames to land on the ledge there, but it's not that much slower. At least not to the point where it matters.
Adalbert waffling.
Right. Peeves show up, and Peeves leave. Another thing I have not talked about is the angle in which you enter a doorway or a bookcase or whatever. Basically, when you press square to open a door or a bookcase, if you're not in the right position, you have to watch that little animation where Harry walks to the right position and then opens it. However, by standing in the right position already, you will find that you don't have to watch the animation, and it saves a few frames. It all depends on the angle and how you enter it, so be wary about that if you decide to run this game. So now we'll be doing some side stuff just to get some beans on wizard cards. Opening doors like a real speedrunner. Exactly. Exactly. Right, there's a cutscene there you skip, but depending on when you skip the cutscene, it gives you a very weird camera angle. So I'm often thrown off guard by it. So we have to activate a pressure pad in this room that gives us access to a potted plant, which we then use Wingardium Leviosa on to get a wizard card down and some beans. So you skip this cutscene, get a weird camera angle. Jumping all the way down here is faster. There isn't much I can tell you about these secret areas, at least not yet. You will see me skip some secret areas, and it's not because Ron or someone else is in the way. It's simply because I cannot complete it immediately, or in my current state.
Cassandra Verblatsky.
And that is the next wizard card we just got. Right, now we will do even more bookcases because those are fun in this game. So the door on the left there is for Dumbledore's office, but it's closed off the entire game. At least I've never seen it open if you meet any condition at all. So it's an indefinitely locked door. This place is only there necessary for the loading screen. Otherwise all it contains is just beans, and there are enough beans in the game, so we should be perfectly fine. So now we're back to the night room, and we're gonna try to do another leg skip. And I got it. So if you weren't here before, whenever Harry lands, he does a little animation for landing. And if you enter a door or a bookcase and press square on the same frame that you are entering on as you land, you don't have to watch Harry's landing animation at all. This is also my favorite secret room in the game. Mostly because of this area, where you're basically outside. Also, turning the camera there actually helps because it lowers lag, so...
Jacinda Sykes.
Yo, Ekta, thank you for the good luck. Right. This is the last secret we will do in this section before the next part of the game. Please come down, Harry. Thank you. The broom's cupboard in HP 1 is always locked. However, the room is used in this game and it's called Out of Bounds. And it basically contains Flipendo Duo, which you unlock once you get 500 beans. So you skip talking to Ron here. And you go the route to Professor Lockhart's office instead because it's faster. But yeah, Broom's cupboard is locked indefinitely. At one point I thought it would unlock if you gained or got the Nimbus 2000. Like so you could switch between them. Because in the first game the Nimbus 2000 doesn't actually make you any faster. So yeah.
Harry, yeah, and why don't you go on, Harry?
That could potentially be faster because I reduced lag there. Right, so next dueling. And this is the last dueling you will be seeing for the next 40 minutes or so.
If it is, go on, Harry. Better watch out.
Get ready. Duel.
Blimey! Blimey!
Come on, Harry.
I am doing it, Lockhart. Calm your tits.
Get ready.
Hey, Shishida, you just triggered all the Apple people.
Come on, Harry. Come on.
Right.
Expelliarmus!
That was the first part of the duel. And now it becomes scary because my health is not that high.
If you try this.
So this is Basilisk 1.0. Got the early hit. Good. So the way these projectiles work, quite innovative actually. They predict where you're going and then goes in that direction. But you can also predict when it shoots it, so yeah. And that's the snake done. They really like the book cutscenes in this game, as you can probably tell.
The snake slithered towards Justin Finch Fletchley. Leave him alone, Harry shouted. At least that was what he thought he'd shouted. When he looked up at Justin, he was met with an angry look.
What do you think you're playing at?
The snake was lying slumped on the floor, docile as a thick black garden hose. So why was Justin, and everybody else for that matter, regarding him with a look of horror?
You're a parcel mouth, Harry. Why didn't you tell us?
Harry didn't know what a parcel mouth was.
Personally, I have more nostalgia towards the second game instead of the first game. But I have optimized the first game a lot more than I have the second game, so... I mean, I still prefer the second game over the first one. But, yeah. That's my opinion on it. Now the big question is, would we have done well in Slytherin?
Harry spotted the sorting hat. As he approached it, the hat spoke to him.
You've been wondering whether I put you in the right house, but I stand by what I said before. You would have done well in Slytherin.
Harry's heart plummeted.
Okay, so some background.
A strange gagging noise behind him made him wheel around.
The cutscene there, when the sorting hat says you would have done well in Slytherin, the game can actually softlock on that, or hardlock, I guess.
Fawkes the Phoenix.
Which happened to a runner called Purple Sandero, where the book cutscene got stuck saying you would have done well in Slytherin over and over and over again.
They can carry immensely heavy loads, and they make highly faithful pets.
I know it may sound a little weird, Shishida, but I actually like this game a lot more than the first one because I feel there's more exploration element in this than there is in the first game. Plus Hogwarts is... The Hogwarts they made in this game is a lot better than in the first game. Like there's so much more to see and do in this game.
Now that everyone... You don't... Of course! There's no one... Thanks. We need to finish the... Yes, okay. Now what? We each have... I'm still not sure... Ready? Ready? As I'll ever be. 1.
Gluck, gluck. And you turn into Goyle. Or maybe it's Crab, I'm not entirely sure.
Are you? Yeah. I'm Hermione.
Fine.
Well...
So, yeah. Now we have to chase a Slytherin around to find the common room. It's really strange that Harry and Ron's voice changes and Hermione doesn't.
Hermione said, we need to... There's a Slytherin now. Quick.
So this section can easily lose you 30 seconds if you fall down, because if you fall down you have to start over. At least on the section you're at. The checkpoint system is really bad in this case. In fact, it's even worse in the Chamber of Secrets. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about this. So, excuse me for a minute while I don't say anything. So yeah, that can happen as well. That is especially dangerous over the pits, because the knights can actually knock you into the pit and then you have to restart the section. Here you have to wait, otherwise I would have walked into his hitbox and taken damage and fallen down. Which happened anyways. And that's this section.
There you are. Have you two been pigging out in the Great Hall or... How did... People seem... You must have... You know I haven't, Goyle. How many times do I have to tell you? But I know one thing.
Right.
Last time the Chamber of Secrets was open,
next minigame coming up is
so I bet it's only a matter of
the
time before one of them is killed this time.
The next minigame, you have to shoot toiletries. Well, not entirely true. You shoot piping, you shoot toilet paper, which is really, really hard for some reason. And you shoot toilet brushes. Get out. I'm sorry, Myrtle, but I'm not gonna get out.
Gone mental! Jinx the flying objects before they hit you!
Also, notice the sound when you destroy the, when I destroyed the toilet paper. It will damage you. I'm not sure what crappy toilet paper Hogwarts uses, but that's not for me to decide, I guess. And this is just a timer, so you just have to wait for the time to run out. Yeah. I don't know why a toilet brush would come flying out of the toilet, but it does. So this letter basically tells you to go to Lockhart's office, which we will, but we will not trigger the cutscene for it. You remember dying there as a kid. Interesting. So we skip past the cutscene here where they basically badmouth Harry for no reason. No bullying, by the way, guys. That's evil. And will land you in jail. Well, maybe not, but don't do it. So last class coming up, and I thought you only had one shot at getting this right. Turns out I'm wrong. You can actually repeat the challenge through Colin's photo album. Did not know that until recently.
Guess what, Harry? I hope
Right, so this teaches us Vertimillious Duo, which basically makes non-solid platforms solid. That's the best way I can describe it.
Harry, no need to worry. Watch my do this. Are you ready? Perfection! Very stylish. Just like me. Perfection!
Okay, that's actually bad. But that's mostly my own fault.
That's see? Very stylish. Just like me. Splendid! Very stylish. Just like me.
I might not get a grade A now. I might not get a grade A.
One more to go. Perfection! Splendid! Perfection! Very stylish. Just like me.
I don't know if this saves it, but we will see. Only barely made it.
You've earned a great
Crispin Kronk.
Excellent.
Oh my god, that is really good.
Now, Harry, once come.
So the game kind of freezes Harry in place when you cast Vertimillious, which is something you will see later as well. So it's better to collect these beans than it is to take the direct route.
Excellent. Now, run up.
And you get an arbitrary amount of house points because reasons.
The race for the House Cup continues.
Okay, next up is the card-carrying Cupids, which I don't think was mentioned even in the book. Valentine's Day was mentioned, and Ginny gives Harry a Valentine's card, which Malfoy, being the douchebag he is, reads out aloud. But I don't remember if the card-carrying Cupids were actually mentioned in the book. That being said, I've never read the book. I only know what people told me.
Gryffindor are in the lead on house points. The race for the house cup is heating up.
Right. The Cupid chase.
My friendly card-carrying Cupids.
If you are familiar with the first game, you probably remember the troll section, where you run away from the troll. This is basically it, just reskinned. And getting caught by the Cupids, it actually causes you to die instantly, and then you have to restart this. So, don't get caught is what I'm saying. That nearly went wrong. Good it didn't. Ow. The arrows themselves, as far as I know, they don't really damage you, they just slow you down. Yeah, I guess that's an accurate representation, Dandis.
Harry flicked through the blank pages of the diary. Then
right.
he pulled out a bottle of scarlet.
If you are afraid of spiders, you may want to look away now.
Excited, Harry loaded up his quill and wrote, "My name is Harry Potter." Then at last, something happened. Oozing back out of the page came words Harry had never written. Harry nearly upset his ink bottle, and then more words appeared on the page.
I know all about the Chamber of Secrets. 50 years ago, the chamber was opened and a girl was killed. I caught the person who opened the chamber all those years ago.
Harry paused for a second, and then wrote 2 letters. O.K. The pages of the diary began to blow as though caught in a high wind, and then the diary seemed to open up, and Harry was pitched head first into the opening. Harry saw that he was standing in a corridor in Hogwarts dungeons.
So when the game flicks to the next page, it will actually show a somewhat realistic spider, and if you have arachnophobia, you do not want to see it, I imagine.
Come on, we've got to get you out of here. Come on now, in the box.
The voice definitely belonged to Hagrid, who, Harry now saw, was crouching down in front of a large box. Riddle suddenly stepped out from the doorway.
Evening, Rubeus. It's all over.
Follow the spiders. Worst advice I've ever heard.
That girl is slaughtered.
The young Hagrid rose up to his full height and roared at the top of his voice.
It wasn't him. He wouldn't. He never.
And then, from out of the box came something that made Harry let out a long, piercing scream unheard by anyone.
Now.
A vast, low-slung, hairy body and a tangle of black legs, a gleam of many eyes and a pair of razor-sharp pincers. The thing scuttled away, tearing up the corridor and out of sight.
No!
The scene whirled, the darkness became complete, and Harry landed with a crash. Later, Harry met up with Ron and Hermione.
What's up?
Harry could barely get the words out of his mouth.
It was Hagrid, Ron. Hagrid opened the Chamber of Secrets 50 years ago.
Right. There's one more book cutscene left where the game can potentially crash. So hopefully that won't happen.
Riddle might have got the wrong person.
And now the game actually gets interesting again.
Hagrid, we've always... I'm going to the library. See if I can find...
So now we have to sneak around. And this section is not too bad. The next one with the trolls is really, really bad.
Be careful, Ron. We're not... Let's split... Remember that you need to collect these to power up your cloak. They only last a short amount of time, so you can unlock the doors by using these pressure pads. You just need to charm and... Wingardium Leviosa!
Also, the audio balance is really off-key here, so...
Nice one,
if you don't hear the... If you don't hear the game sounds too well, it's because of the sounds or the music being really loud. So here you run up against the wall, so Filch doesn't catch you immediately, because as I've seen, he can actually catch you quite early.
Wingardium Leviosa!
So this is another example of the game being ran by spaghetti code, because you can just Wingardium Leviosa through the hedge. Right. This cloak, while not necessary, is still nice to have, because sometimes Snape just catches you for no reason. Alrighty.
Wingardium Leviosa!
This unlocks this door. And you basically have to land back up here and jump on the log over here.
Who's there?
Almost skipping past the cutscene, but it's really hard to skip past it. Like, the trigger is ultra sensitive. So next up is McGonagall, which should be really easy to deal with. Because in the first part of this, you just run through without giving a damn. The second part, you have to wait a little and get lucky to get past the lamppost before she spots you again. Also notice how that was not completely on center. The game tries to trick you into thinking you have to land on center, but you don't. And so we run past her here, get behind the lamppost, and it activates a checkpoint. So this section can lose me 20 seconds if I don't do it right, but even then the backup is really easy, so... Here we're gonna Wingardium Leviosa through another wall of trees. And this next strat is really hard, so don't be surprised if I fail it. On the other hand, be surprised if I don't fail it. So you get up here, wait for Snape and... what's his name, Filch? And...
even you.
Okay, Snape catching me there is actually a first. I expected Filch to catch me. Right, so I'll have to do a backup. You wait for Snape to get to that point, run like this. Run close to the... okay. That's unusual. Sometimes Snape spawns really late there. Maybe I waited too long in the dark patch. Or maybe I was too early here. That's how you do the backup. Not 100% sure what went wrong there. But I guess it was my positioning or something. Wait for McGonagall. Grab this. And then you go to the next pressure pad, which does not have a potted plant with it.
This pressure pad has a different image on it, and there are no objects to charm.
Runs usually don't die on this, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we should be fine. I don't know why the cutscene or the sound played again.
Yet again.
That must be quiet.
Look at.
So, you alone?
Not. Come on,
If anyone wanted to find out some
stuff, all I'd have to do is follow the
Look
spiders.
at the spiders. I'm go. All right.
Right. Arachnophobia warning throughout the entirety of Forbidden Forest, so if you don't like spiders, you do not want to watch this for the next 10 minutes or so.
Hagrid said to follow the spiders.
Okay, so Forbidden Forest, not a trick that trick heavy. It has some interesting skips which I will not do. But it also has a really hard sneaking section, which you will see later. Alrighty. So this is a spoda. There isn't really much to talk about throughout Forbidden Forest until I get to the sneaking section. And even then I won't have much to say, so... I'm taking a lot of damage actually, I should stop doing that. Okay, that's a shame. Alright, time for a secret area, which has another spoda. Ow.
Albus Dumbledore.
Okay, I'm actually gonna take the potion. But it's just for my own safety. Because there are no other options of getting health for a little while, and I need the health for the end game. So I'm not sure what snail cycle I'm gonna get now. Probably one where he's really oh, never mind. This section you actually skip parts of it by jumping like that. And you have to jump in a straight line there, otherwise it will not work. Because you lose speed when you jump at a side. So... Right, so coming up next is the sneaking section. And it's really hard, so I will be concentrating throughout that. here we go. Everything works on a timer, and basically for this first one, if I don't get it immediately, I have to do a backup. This will not make it, I don't think. Oh, it did make it, good. Now comes the second hard part. Okay, good. Now for the third part. Okay. So this troll on the right over there can actually easily spot you through the woods if you're not careful. And it's really annoying when it does happen. But yeah, that was really clean. Okay, good. Very good. So next up is the Aragog fight, and spoiler alert, it's a huge spider. So I've mentioned in the past that you don't need a fully charged Flipendo to deal maximum damage. It's even more true in this section. You barely need to charge your Flipendo if you want to deal max damage. So the way the fight works is there's 4 trees you have to destroy. We destroy 3 of them, and then we abuse Aragog's mechanics to destroy the 4th one.
They take it.
I win up.
So do you?
Nothing.
Okay.
Go.
Go? I think not. Make sure there's at least one spider on screen. Otherwise this strat will not work. I might have played a little bit with fire there, but you know, it happens sometimes. So you destroy these trees until they're 1 hit away from being destroyed. That's 1 down. That's 2 down. And now we break the trees. So now we move like this. Like so. And Aragog will destroy the last tree. And that's the Aragog fight. And I technically didn't need to get those beans there, but I still got them, so it's fine. This book cutscene has crashed my game before, and it's done that on world record pace in the past. So hopefully it won't happen.
Hurry up, Ron!
The door slammed shut, and Ron didn't need to touch the accelerator because the car was already speeding away. They sped out of the hollow, branches whipping the windows as the car wound its way cleverly through the widest gaps, following a path it obviously knew. After 10 noisy, rocky minutes, the trees thinned and the car stopped so suddenly they were nearly thrown through the windscreen. They had reached the edge of the forest. Harry and Ron arrived safely back in the Gryffindor common room.
What was the point of going in there? What have we found out? I'd like to know that Hagrid never opened the Chamber of Secrets. He was innocent.
Alright, so next up is more or less the endgame stuff. And the game didn't crash, so woohoo.
Harry,
Oh,
I am I also.
oh no, Aragog mentioned moaning. Go to the look. He's the. Okay. Ginny will be all right, won't she, Harry? Don't worry, Ron. We'll rescue her, and then.
Alright, so next up is, like I said, all the endgame stuff. We'll get the last wizard cards, the Flipendo Duo, and then we'll trigger the endgame. So first things first is this bookcase we've been callously ignoring throughout the whole game. And that's because you need Vertimillious in order to complete this section. Technically you can do it without Vertimillious, but it's a really tough skip. So we do it now. So even though we should not go through there, she lets us through anyways because she's nice. And then we pull the lever. So now the game hints at where you should go, which is pretty much where we will go. No, I did not pull the lever because I'm a nice boy. Kappa. Well, anyways. There is a small section we have to get past before we will get back to where we were. Alright, that almost went bad. This section can be really annoying in terms of taking damage. So shooting the rats there is actually intentional. The points there, however, were not intentional. Also epic music, because why not? So through this door we will find the wizard card on the other side of a bookcase, because this game is interesting. And there's the wizard card.
Montague Knightley.
And that is this bookcase done with. So there's one more bookcase, then we collect the Flipendo Duo, do the Founder Duels, or collect the last few wizard cards, do the Founder Duels, go to the Founder Tower, go to Colin's photo album, and yeah, we're more or less done after that. We just need the end game. So here's the last bookcase, and also the point where we will collect the last beans we need. There isn't much I can tell you about this section, it's really bland and boring. And now that we have 500 beans, we have exactly what we need. Right. Right, up here's the wizard card.
Daisy Dodderidge.
No leg skip. That's a shame. So now we'll go get the Flipendo Duo, which is essentially a faster charging Flipendo. which you don't even get much joy out of in this game. And you might be thinking, faster charging Flipendo, that would be useful for the duels. Yes, with one exception. It doesn't work in the duels. I'm not sure which door just opened, but it doesn't matter. That was spooky. Okay, so we're in out of bounds now. This door only unlocks when you have 500 beans. And Harry screams Incendio. Also your Jinx is red now. That's how you distinguish between the two. Over there is a door that's indefinitely locked. I'm not sure what the door leads to, and I'm not interested in finding out right now, so that will be forever shrouded in mystery. So now I go back to the common room and get the last wizard cards, and then we do the founder duels. In HP 1 100% you don't even get the enhanced Flipendo.
Looks like this shit. Come on, you. I forgot how much I missed her. Godric Gryffindor.
So this is the sequence we skipped in Herbology.
Have you heard about? Behind us is a statue. You can use it to find the entrances to the secret founder duels. Defeat each. No one we know. That's where to open up each. Everyone knows that finding famous witches and wizards cards can be very difficult. So we're with. It's a good deal. Brilliant.
Ignatia Wildsmith.
So now we buy 5
Brilliant.
wizard cards.
Greta Catchlove.
Brilliant.
404, beans not found.
Brilliant.
Herpo the Foul.
Brilliant.
Paracelsus.
Right. Now for the founder duels. I've seen a glitch on a founder duel that cost me 4 minutes once. Only on the Slytherin one though. I've never seen it happen anywhere else, so... Also, if you were wondering how quickly it charges, that's how quickly.
Good luck, young.
So we got 3 more duels and then it's more or less end game time. Starting with Hufflepuff. I'm not very good at these duels, just mind you.
So there's no... Get ready, duel! And the match gets underway with both players quick into their stride. Ow. Oh, I say, I've never seen anything like it. Ah! Ow! Oh, a great move from Potter. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, look at that. The champion really showing his class there. Oh, and that's the first round.
Not very
Potter.
good. Very bad, actually.
Get ready, duel. And round 2 gets underway. Oh, a great move from Potter. Oh, I say, I've never seen anything like it.
What a shame.
Potter responds well. Great play from Potter.
Not a very good duel, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you.
Whoa, blimey.
And of course it's a Gryffindor doing commentary, because why not? So winning each duel here gives you a wizard card. And that's really the only reason we're doing it, because we need all wizard cards.
Congratulations.
Well, I expected.
Wrecked. Not really in my opinion, but you get the idea. Slytherin duel can crap out if it feels like it. So hopefully that won't happen.
Well, you are correct.
Get ready, duel!
Okay, it didn't.
And the match gets underway with both players getting quickly into their stride. Things are really hotting up now. Potter responds well. Oh, and that's the first round to Potter.
None, actually.
Duel!
No soft locks.
And round 2 gets underway. Ow! Things are really hotting up now.
Okay, so I got the double hit there.
Expelliarmus!
I suppose I...
If you hit them in one, with one of the red triplets, it will they will sometimes move very quickly into the other one, and that damages them twice. Which is... I don't know if it's a game bug, but I don't think it was intended at the very least. Okay, so all we have left now is Ravenclaw. I did, however, spend about 5 minutes on denoming 2, only to fail it for 5 minutes and having to reload a safety save. So, doesn't really count as a soft lock. And it's still unfortunate it had to happen, but in the interest of showing off as much as possible for this game.
I hear you.
Yeah, no, I had to do it.
Duel! And the match gets underway with both players quickly into their stride. Potter responds well. Great stuff. Oh, and that's the first round to Potter.
Very good first duel.
Get ready. Duel! And round 2 gets underway. Oh, a great move from Potter. Potter responds well.
Okay. Not too terrible.
Whoa, you're not bad.
Rowena Ravenclaw.
I mean, it's a lot like HP1 Quidditch and HP2 and HP1 PC Quidditch. It's always part of this, part of that. I don't even think the commentator knows the other guy's name. And it doesn't matter, it's just some unnamed person who's apparently really good at dueling. Well, supposedly anyways. Yeah, at least I'm playing the better Harry Potter game. Speaking of which, Dylan, you have to return to it now. For no other reason than the fact that I said so. So, you skip a cutscene here, walk in, activate the book,
Harry Potter.
go out of the book, and leave. As far as I'm aware, you have to look at the book in order for it to count percentage, which seems really strange to me. but I don't know for sure. Right, so there's one more duel in the game, and it's, I would dare say the hardest one, because it can insta-kill you. Yes, Fire Dude, this is a fast let's play with the timer for a charity marathon, as you just correctly explained. Colin's photo album gives a loading screen, which is required for 100%. Only if you can run the no out of bounds route. Interesting. Very interesting. In that case you can do whatever you want, because I said so. And I'm a moderator for that leaderboard, so yeah. So you can skip past Colin's dialogue by moving like that. Doesn't really matter. Right, so now we enter the end game portion of this. And this is where things get kinda interesting, I guess. There isn't all that much left of the game, it's like 10 or 15 minutes, so... Should be good on estimate, but time will tell. Okay, that's an interesting softlock that I've never heard of or seen before. So these magic jinxes, we walk into them to reset their position. However, they also damage you, and it's really annoying. And yeah, that was it. So here you have to walk up to Lockhart to actually get him to notice you.
Professor.
For some reason. Oh really? That's interesting.
Oh, oh, I didn't. How? No, I went by the sinks.
Boy, the sinks. So first we have to do the slide, because
okay, I'll try.
unlike the PS2, Xbox and GameCube version, there is actually something to do here. Just like the PC version, there's actually something to do in Chamber.
Well,
we'll be right.
Oh dear.
Right, so I need to concentrate on this slide because it is kind of dreadful. Hello, Lockhart. Hello, Ron. Goodbye, Ron. This section coming up can be really hard because of that. And you have to repeat it and you lose life as well. This wouldn't be so bad if not for the time limit, honestly. Okay, a bit iffy, but we made it. Happy birthday, Fire, if that was meant for you.
Oh, careful, Harry.
Lost it.
See?
I shall go back.
Oh no.
Yes, indeed.
The famous Lockhart.
So, Lockhart can insta-kill you if he feels like it.
Watch out on the memory charm.
There we go. That's Lockhart done.
Ron. Oh, Obliviate. Well, we can't get. There's only.
Thank you, Lockhart, for saying that. So, if you defeat Lockhart on a frame where he's supposed to say Obliviate, it will actually get stored in the memory, and he says it later. Overrun. Right, I'm gonna take the potion here. So, Trials is extremely evil. In the sense that if you die at all during the trials, as far as I know, you have to repeat them all. That could be entirely wrong, but I'm not 100% sure. I've just seen myself die in trials and having to respawning back at the room, a couple rooms back. I took damage there. I did not want that. This is a cutscene, you skip it. And then you do the free trials. Okay. Could not avoid damage there, it seems.
Wingardium Leviosa!
And Harry destroyed himself. Still not sure how this cutscene trigger works. All I know is that it's camera dependent. Oh, so you don't have to restart all of it. Well, that's good to know at least. So we get caught here on purpose to reset. Hug this wall like you never hug anyone in your life. Because if you don't hug the wall there, he will spot you. And there's nothing you can do about it. Especially either if you're too late or you don't hug the wall, you will get spotted. Alright, next trial is the night room, or dark hall as they call it. I don't know how much damage this knight does, and I'm not very keen on fighting out. So this next room has a really neat skip if I get it. Got it? Nice. This room can sometimes damage you if you don't do it right. So you move like this. And then you get up close and personal with this knight. And that skips taking damage from this knight. It's a known thing you only have to destroy one knight in order to activate the platform. However, I just like getting rid of both of them, so that's why I do it that way. And the last trial. I see you guys talking in chat and I cannot read it right now. This room is particularly evil because these rats can just push you off. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is the fireballs, which is coming up right now. So I had 3 health bars going into this once, and I died on a world record pace run. So it's absolutely cruel. Anyways, that's all the trials done. Nice Shishida. And yeah, I didn't even know there was a checkpoint for the trials, but good to know. It wouldn't have helped me when I was on world record pace, like a couple of days back or a month back, but...
Ginny! She's alive, but only just.
Okay, time for the basilisk.
Diary for months. Ginny Weasley opened.
And for some reason, Tom Riddle has blue hair in this.
Messages on the wall.
At least it looks blue on my TV screen.
I am.
Anyways, this was the final boss. And as Dylan has properly pointed out, this boss is a complete joke. We basically abuse his mechanics so he will never do an attack to us that actually deals damage. But first things first, you line yourself up in this position, just holding left. And the basilisk should never be able to hit you. Also we get this epic music. So standing here, the basilisk will technically never hit you. And the boss is in 2 phases. One where you just use your wand, and one where you use the sword to deflect the basilisk venom. So you move up close and personal to him. That way he will always charge up his venom, and then you deflect it. Good. Whenever he's done, he will try hitting you, you move back, and then you move forward again. And then he will charge up his venom instead of firing it directly. So this is the strat for the fight. Also, be prepared for time, because when I destroy the basilisk on the last hit, it's over. Very good round there. Alright, you may want to get ready on time, because the fight is almost over. Alright, one more phase and it should be over. Time. And that's Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. There is no special sequence for finishing the game 100%. You always get the same ending, regardless of whether or not you do it 80% or 100%. But I will do a couple of shoutouts. Purple Sandero, who found, I would say, more or less every strat in the game. He routed out 100%, as far as I know. Finks the Clown, who got the world record as far down as he did, until I destroyed it 2 days ago. And Slintbit for being a good competitor as well, even though he didn't play this game much, but he's still a noteworthy runner of this game. And yeah, I don't know if you want to see the end sequence or not, Pseudo. If not, you can just put me off now if you want.
He had guessed that Moaning Myrtle had been the victim, and that the entrance to the basilisk's lair, the Chamber of Secrets, might be in her